Well, howdy. Welcome here once again to the Double M Farm. Or if this is your first time seeing one of our videos, welcome for the first time to the Double M Farm. This is September the 3rd. It's a Sunday, 2023. It's been 2 weeks since our last update on the new home. And if you saw the previous video, I think episode 5, you can see we've gotten some progress. It's been 2 weeks. And as I said in episode 5, when you buy a mobile home, do not expect it to be fast just because it's a mobile home and not a site-built home. You'll get in it quicker, but not super quick. You've got to be prepared for things to happen. Last video there was no skirting and no steps, and now you can see we've got skirting and steps. The inspector came and approved everything under the house, and so then they were able to do the brickwork. That was done a little over a week ago, about 5 or 6 days after the last video. We had a ton of rain set in several days in a row, and that just screwed the schedule up. Obviously, Marty Wright Homes, the dealership that we purchased this home through, have a lot of homes sold and in the process of being set up. And so bad weather just stacks everything up. It's a sort of a first come, first serve. They get to the next one as they finish the one before you. And the rain set us back a little bit. But they got the brickwork done, and I'm very pleased with it. It was a group of 6 guys came, and they, one of them was mixing mortar, 2 of them were toting brick, and the other 3 were laying brick. And they bricked this whole thing up in about a day. They got a late start one day and came back the next morning and finished. So I would say all told they could have done it in one day if they had been able to start early. But again, they were finishing up other jobs because of the weather. And we'll take a closer look. I also, since the last time you saw the home, I put some wheat straw out after they bricked to cover the fresh clay so it wouldn't be so muddy. And unfortunately it rained before I got all the straw done, and you can see, I assume you can see on camera, some spots there where the brick has got clay on it down near the bottom where the rain running off the roof. There are no gutters on the house. And the rain running off splattered the clay up and got the brick dirty. But higher up, you can see the clean brick. And I think my wife Marie did an outstanding job picking out the color of the brick. It's a good clean spot right there. And you can see the lighter color in the brick brings out goes with the lighter siding. And the darker color goes with the dark siding and the black shutters. So I think she did an outstanding job with that, picking out the color. She had 9 choices at the Marty Wright dealership to pick out a color, and this is the one she picked. And I apologize, I forget the name of the color. But it's, I think, a very beautiful brick. We didn't want a bright red. We wanted something a little more antique looking, and I think she did that real well. And of course, they put in the foundation vents. They look like, I don't know, some kind of metal. They're actually plastic, so there'll be very little upkeep on them. They've got a screen in them, and they very simply slide closed. And I've got them all open because it is early September, still hot weather. I'm about to sweat sitting here at 10 o'clock on a Sunday morning in September the 3rd. It's already hot in the sunshine. But they're very nice and very well done. The way they mortared them into the brick. And these guys did a super job. And then right after they finished the brick, as I said, it rained and splashed that mud up there. Then I got the wheat straw put out. Because of the rain, the crew that does the steps and little porches, stoops I guess you'd call them, they obviously fell behind trying to stay caught up from the rain. And so they came Friday. Today is Sunday. They were here this past Friday. So we had a week of downtime after the brick that nothing was done, which is frustrating, but it is what it is. And they came and got the stoops done, and I am extremely pleased with the job they did there. We will probably eventually be putting a front porch on here and a deck on the back, but for now, these are fantastic. They did a really good job. You can see the bracing. Hopefully you can see. You got the bracing underneath. Set the posts. And the bottom of the step is sitting on a little cement pad. And just did an outstanding job with these. I think they look real good. They trimmed the tops of the 4x4 posts, dress them up. And then the steps on the front, because of the slope, we have, I believe it's 7 steps, and then the porch. On the back, it's 6 steps. And then I really like this touch. I think it's to code. I think code required it. A little handrail added on to the existing railing. So you got a little extra handrail there to hold on to. As I get older and older, I'll really appreciate having that. But I like that. I think it turned out real well. I'm very pleased with the outcome. They're very sturdy. There's no shaking, wobbling, or anything. Turn around, well, the sun's going to tear the camera up, but you can see, maybe you can see, there, I'm trying to shade the sun, our view of the front pasture and the entrance and driveway road out there. Let's see if I can get down without killing myself. So, I'm very pleased with what's been done since the last update. The brick is done, steps are done, wheat straw is out. This is where our water line is. I tied into the water line and ran it up to a valve to cut on and off to go into the house. I put straw on it. And like I said, I got wheat straw around the house. There's a good view of the brick here. I know Marie wants to see this because she's still down the low country taking care of her mother. And she's been sick. So she's having a tough time getting things done down there when she really wants to be up here. But she's needed down there too, so we'll deal with it. But I really think the brick looks great. Come around this side, we're going to be in the shade of the house. See how the camera adapts to the shade here. Yeah, there we go. That's not too bad. There's the clean out for the septic tank. And I'm standing on the septic tank right here. Field line pipe goes out there and turns into 3 separate field lines that curl around like that. And that's been about 2 weeks, maybe 2.5 weeks ago that was done, and I've already got some grass sprouting up. I haven't planted anything, but I've got some grass sprouting up there. So it won't get covered before winter sets in, but at least it'll be a start. And then the steps on the back, just like the ones on the front, though they did put in a nice manhole there to get under the house. And of course the foundation vents, just like the ones you saw up front. And let's see, a lot of glare, but there's the inside of the house for someone who hasn't seen it yet. Still don't have key and access because there's another inspection to be done. So that's the next thing. If you're buying a mobile home for the first time and you're wondering the steps, you can go back and watch the previous videos to get you up to this point. And then once you're at this point, and real quickly, let me say that this one is not centered on the door, which at first I wondered, now why is this one not centered and the front one is? Well, it's a little freaky thing here. This electrical outlet right here, and where it's at, they couldn't center it. They'd have been on top of it. So the porch is slightly over that way, which is no big deal. It is what it is. As you can see, it's off-centered. Hopefully the inspector doesn't take exception to that, but I don't know what else they could have done with the outlet being there. So we'll hope that doesn't cause any problem. That door goes into the utility room, which then goes into the main living area. And we're going to eventually come off right here and build a deck to sit on, because when you're up at this level, and right now, and for some reason they never show up on camera, but we've got a really nice mountain view right there and through there. But in another few weeks, when all these leaves start falling, we'll have a mountain view from there all the way around to there. So it's a beautiful view that we'll be able to sit out here on our deck and drink our morning coffee and enjoy the view of the mountains. So looking forward to that. But, so where are we now? What's next? What's keeping us from being in the house? Well, now that the stoops are done, the brick is done, the inspector, the county building inspector, has to come back one more time to make sure that these stoops and steps are to code, to the county building codes, which I'm assuming is why they put these little extra handrails here. That must be probably part of this county's code. I don't know, because some of the other ones I've seen in other counties didn't have this on it. So I don't know if they do this. Obviously they don't do this standard, because like I said, it wasn't on some of the other ones I've seen. So I'm assuming it's a code for this county. But he's got to come check it, make sure it's the proper height, not too high, not too low, and make sure the steps are the proper height. And the gentleman that built it said that they haven't had one ever turned down, so we're assuming that'll be smooth sailing. So what's got to happen? The inspector's got to come back. The timing was terrible. The rain set us back a week, and then we got the brickwork done. We got this done Friday. It was finished up, so we're ready for the inspector. Well, I told you at the beginning of this is September the 3rd, Sunday. Tomorrow's Labor Day. So it's basically a 4-day weekend holiday. So I don't expect to see the inspector until Tuesday at the earliest. And depending on how booked up he is, it could be several days after that. And nothing else can be done until he signs off on this and the one in the front. So when he signs off, everything's done. The house is basically ready to move in. But when he signs off, then he has to contact the power company, and they will come plug in the meter and flip the fuse right there up to turn the power on. Then we have the power turned off in here. Now, if you've never done this before, if you've never been part of this before, when we reach that point, if you're having one done, make sure when they cut the power on, make sure it's cut off there. It's also cut off at the switch box inside the house, the main panel. But since you can't get in there because you don't have proper access yet, you want to make sure it's cut off there. Because what will happen if you allow power to go to your water heater without it being full of water, it'll burn up the elements in your water heater. So you want to make sure when they cut power on that the power is cut off going into the house until you get the water turned on. You don't want to go around there and turn the water on, but there is also, if I turned it on out front, there's also a cutoff inside the house, a main cutoff that keeps it from going through the house. So you don't want to cut water on with no one in there, and who knows, there could be a leak somewhere. I mean, it's a brand new home, you never know. Hopefully there's not a leak, but you never know. Dirt. There could be a leak. So you want to make sure that the water's off until someone has access. But having said all of that, once he approves this and the power is set and ready, then Marty Wright Homes sends what they call a get ready team. And I don't know how many people's involved, but they come and they turn on the water inside the house, let the water tank fill up. They go through and turn on every spigot in the house. They walk from one in the house to the other. They turn on everything and make sure there are no leaks anywhere. Then they turn on the power, because by that time the water heaters had time to fill up. They turn on the power and they go through and turn on every light in the house and make sure everything's working properly. They go through and open and close every window in the house to make sure all the windows are working and not sticking. And once they've done all that, they go through and clean the house and basically try to make it look as much like a brand new home as it can, and that's what it is, a brand new home. So that's what they'll do. That's the get ready team, they call it. I don't know what other dealerships call it. I don't even know if other dealerships do this, but that's just what Marty Wright Homes does. And once they do that, then we walk through with one of their representatives. When I say we, I mean me, the buyer, and Marie, if she's able to be here. We walk through with the representative and make a checklist of anything we see that needs to be fixed, repaired, adjusted. We have 30 days from the date of getting the key, but we do add initially with them. And then in the next 30 days, if we find anything else that needs to be done, we make a list and send it to them, and they send people out, depending on what it is, plumbing, electrical, whatever. And so they'll fix it at no charge, obviously. But that's where we are. We're just basically waiting now on the building inspector to say, yeah, it's good. And then those other things, it sounds like a lot, but really it can all be done in a day or two. So if the building inspector is able to come right after Labor Day, Tuesday or Wednesday, they could possibly have the key by the end of the week. If the building inspector is booked up, it could be another week, who knows. We're at the mercy of the building inspector's schedule. So that's where we are. I have moved out of the house in town that we sold and am living in the cabin on the back of the property down at the creek in the woods. Been living there a little over a week. It's been real pleasant, having some peace and quiet. But that's where we are. That's what you can expect when you buy a home. This is just the next step in the process. And hopefully the next updated video will be me inside the house, and along with Marie, unpacking some furniture and setting up some things, and we'll give you a tour of the inside of the house, what it looks like, and what you can expect if you buy a nice quality Energy Star home from a dealership such as Marty Wright Homes. And again, they don't sponsor this. I'm just very pleased with them, so I want to give them as much credit as I can. And I'm trying my best not to shake the camera. Well, I think that's long enough. I've been blabbing on now for almost 18 minutes. I appreciate you visiting us here for part 6 of our new home and what you can expect when buying a mobile home. And I'll talk to you again real soon.